So a while ago, I heard about a concept, or I don't know if it's like a concept or like a life philosophy or something, that I really loved. Sorry for my little sockies over there. That I really loved, and when I heard it, I'm like, girl, I'm gonna preach by it. This is gonna be my life mindset. And it is called radical self responsibility. We already know what responsibility is. We have lots on our shoulders, but like radical response self responsibility is basically something that's very inward, and simply realizing that every single thing you do in your life up until a certain point purely depends on you. You are not responsible for the things that happened to you when you were a teenager. Most of the time, if something happened, it's because you were unprotected by your family, by whoever took care of you, and this is their responsibility. So this is nothing to blame your own self for. You were helpless. You couldn't do shit to protect yourself, and it is so sad and heartbreaking that system fails young people. And I understand that, and I have a lot of empathy for people who went through shit earlier in life. But up until a certain point, the responsibility, honey, is on your own damn shoulders. And if there's something I hate today, is adults who are constantly in their own narrative, victims of absolutely everything. Every time you meet them, they complain about new things happening to them, something is wrong, and it's all the time, 10 out of 10, somebody else's fault, and they are the victim. I understand sometimes you can be victim of certain people's behaviors. You cannot be a victim all the damn time. The math is not mathing. This is just common sense. Let me explain myself to you. Let's say you get yourself in an abusive relationship. Obviously, at the beginning, this is not how it goes. They love bomb you, everything seems fine. They're your lover, best friend, the man or the woman of your dream. Certain time passes and then you start to see things clearly. Yes, if they're abusing you, you are the victim. Why are you staying? I'm not blaming anybody. Careful, I'm not judging people. But if you keep staying in this relationship for a very long time and you do nothing to change it, or even worse, and this is something that I've seen so many times, people realize that they are in an abusive relationship, they are able to break the cycle or somehow get out of this relationship. Good job. This is already something to congratulate people for. But then what do? They get into a new relationship with the exact same type of person and mindset, and they keep getting abused. And at this point, I'm like, honey, do you realize that you are just not healed enough to find yourself a person who are gonna treat you the way you wanna be treated? You don't even know how you wanna be treated. You don't fucking understand that yet because you did not do the healing necessary for you to evolve in life to this bigger version of yourself and to attract people who are gonna give to you exactly what you deserve. You don't even know what you deserve. Why the fuck are you out there looking for new people to fill the void? Girl, this is just the same story repeating itself, the same pattern every time. And it just gets boring. At this point, you are not the victim. At this point, you are an adult. You are simply an unhealed adult. This is who you are. You are not the victim. I cannot keep talking to those kind of people and keep listening to their stories and look at them like, yeah, I get it, I understand, because I don't understand. And let me tell you something. I was in an abusive relationship myself. I know for a fact, personal experience, what it's like. It is horrible. It feels like they're sucking out the soul out of your body. It feels like you are poison. This is how I felt for a very long time. Like, you drink poison every day. And I know how hard it is, and I know how long it gets to get out of this cycle. So, yes, you definitely need time for this. Healing doesn't happen in one day. It takes so much time. And timing is different for everybody. For some people, it's going to be a couple of months. For other people, it could be 20 years or their whole life. So don't look for comparison. Just, take care of your own self. But yeah, I know I empathize, and understand what it's like. However, me, for example, after I got out of this relationship, I took the time to just sit with myself, to surround myself with my closest friends, to share the story, to talk about it as much as I could, because this is what you really need to do, to share the story, to be heard by other people, to be understood, and to make sure, also very important, that people around you have the mental capacities to understand and not just give you some silly advice. No. So I did this, and it lasted a long time. So I stayed in this relationship for a year. Worst year of my life. But I feel like the year after was even somehow worse, because this is where the healing started. This is where I just realized that those are just the consequences of my own actions. And this previous unhealed version of myself refused to see it for such a long time, even though it was obvious. Like, red flags absolutely everywhere. But it is my responsibility. I don't want to say fault, because I don't want to blame myself, neither would I ever blame anybody. But this was my responsibility. And I could have left earlier and the damage wouldn't be as bad as it was. Because basically I dated a narcissist, and they say that the damage from narcissistic abuse lasts for up to 2 years. And this was more or less my timing. But had I stayed a little bit less, for less time with this person, I would have felt better. I would have healed easier. So once again, I understand, I get it. But girl, I see people get in an abusive relationship, magically somehow get out of this relationship, and most of the time it's not even because they had the strength to break up with them. It's because the other person, the abuser, broke up with them. And then they do what? They want to fill the void. They go for band-aid relationships, and they simply, switch from one abuser to another one. No. Radical self-responsibility in life. Whatever happens to you as an adult is like direct consequences of your own actions, of the effort that you put into your own self and into your own life daily. Daily, absolutely daily. It's the people you see, it's the friends that you have, it's the relationship you build, because as an adult you also build a relationship with your parents, you improve it. It's the relationship you have with yourself, the job that you have, daily habits, everything. All of this is gonna reflect the type of life that you're going to have. So if you find yourself in very, very, very unfortunate situations all the time, you are the one responsible for it. You are unable to sit down, to reflect, to understand, to analyze what's going on, to verbalize it. Therapy, obviously, this is the best, very helpful. But if you do not have access to therapy, at least talk to your own self and talk to your friends. They are supposed to understand. And to break the cycle. No, but this is just so much easier to blame absolutely everybody for everything that's going on in your life. Like, it's just it's like that. It's like, no, but that's not me. It's just them. They were horrible to me. But then you hear one story, second story, third story, and you're like, wait, let me just connect the dots. Oh, they are not connecting themselves. It is because you're responsible for it. I told you explicitly as your friend that you're not putting yourself in a dangerous situation, and you just kept doing this to yourself. So at one point, I had a lot of friends like that. I had one particular close friend who's just always like this. And this friend, he was a very, very dear friend to me. I'm talking in past tense because as of today, I'm not really sure if I want to continue this friendship. I like them as a person. I really do. They have so many things that I actually admire, but the longer I stayed friends with them, the more I heard them talk about their own life, the less I wanted to be friends with them, because really he's the concept of the crisis friend. Everybody's talking about it on TikTok. The same thing. He was always a crisis friend, bad shit would always happen to him, sorry. He would always attract shit, and he would never take time to heal and think about it, and just on to the next bad thing. And I cannot be that type of friend anymore. I don't want to have crisis friends all the time. If you're constantly in crisis, it is also because you're not making an effort to get out of those crises. It is because you're not relying on the right people. You don't trust yourself. You don't know how to trust yourself. You don't rely to yourself. You don't listen to your God. You're not doing all of those things that you're supposed to be doing for your own self. And we are not saying it to judge people. This is not the point. We are saying it because you have this power within yourself. It is not constant. There will be times in your life where it's going to be really hard to channel this thing within yourself. But overall, this is something that you need to cultivate. And this random question, I just can't fucking stand his presence anymore, because I really look at him and I see all the great things and the potential that he has. And I'm like, girl, you are fucking not using it. None of it. When are you going to start doing it? You always get yourself in the same situations. And it is just hard to be your friend because you are toxic to your own self at one point. So yeah, this is why I call it radical, and radical is a good word for it. Radical self-responsibility. And also is also something that I try to do with myself. It's not always easy because sometimes your ego be like, nah, they are responsible. It's not me. And sometimes somebody else will be responsible. But overall, also trying to understand, like, if this happened to me, did I do something wrong, whether it's to other people or to my own self. If I attract the same type of situations all the time, all over again, could I be potentially the problem in some of those things? Could I be the one not doing things the way I should be doing them for myself, so my life would be smoother and nicer and easier? And the day you stop blaming everybody is the day you see clearer. Let me also give you another example. I always used to blame my mother for many things, and my mother is a boomer. There are lots of things we can blame boomers for. She is overall, or at least was when I was growing up, emotionally immature. She would shut me down all the time, where I would voice my needs or cry. So it was really hard to build a connection with her because I couldn't be myself. I couldn't express myself. Like, it's a very bad thing to do for a child. Our relationship is better today, no worries, and I really love my mom. But I really used to, up until like quite recently, I used to blame the circumstances or other people for my whole life. And of course she is directly responsible for some things, but as responsible as she is, it is not up to her today to make my life better. I'm an adult. I make my own money. I live by myself without my mom next to me. It is up to me to do all of those things. So you have two choices. You can just keep blaming all of the people that, like, who did something to you or didn't do enough for you. Or you can just realize that it happened, it is as it is, and you're not gonna be able to change anything about it, to change anything about your mom, your dad, your older sister behavior, any other people. But what you can change is what you do with it today. You start healing, you communicate your needs, you put boundaries, you really invest in yourself to a point where you become so big and you feel so calm yet confident and powerful that you just start slowly shifting towards the life that you really deserve. And the day I started realizing it, first of all, it was really beneficial for my relationship with my mom. Like, a lot. We didn't really talk about it because I don't necessarily have the need to bring it up with her. I just worked on this within myself. But I really felt like I could see her as a human who could make mistakes. And we always see our parents a little bit as gods at the beginning, but they are not. They are humans. They had their own issues with their own families. So I don't want to blame her anymore. I'm not, this is not a universal example. I'm just talking about my own mom and my own family. It could be different for you. But I don't want to blame her anymore. She did what she did, and sometimes she failed and sometimes she didn't. But I know that I really want to see myself as somebody who is capable of making my own life better and daily making those little baby steps that's going to help me get a bigger and a better thing. And I really want it, and I have goals, and I have dreams, and I have aspirations, and I will not allow, and neither should you ever allow anybody to break all of those beautiful things that you really want to build, that you really want to cultivate. Because the soil is here and it's fertile, but if you don't do necessary things to plant those trees, to put those seeds in the ground, you are never going to build anything. So radical self-responsibility, up, starting from today. If this resonates with you, and I really hope it does, I really hope it does, because it's a very smart thing. I'm not the one who brought up the concept, I just read about it. If this resonates with you, and if you feel like this is something that you really want to build and move towards, I advise you start today. Really, you sit down with yourself, you write down all of the things that you want to work on, all of the relationships, any other things, and you realize where you could have been the issue, and where you failed and betrayed your own self. You're going to realize that 8 times out of 10 it is going to be you, it is not other people. And you start working on it. You do not shame yourself, you do not put yourself onto this guilt trip. It happened, it is as it is. But work for the future version of yourself. Imagine them doing so well, having so much fun, being free, being happy, and start moving towards those goals. I am 100% confident that way more people are capable of that than they even could possibly think about it. Way more people. It's just that, once again, it's just so easy to blame somebody else. But we are not looking for easy, right? We're looking for big and grand and amazing and fucking fabulous. You want all of those things? Start working on them today.